Superman is written and directed by James Gunn, the man behind the Guardians trilogy, The Suicide Squad, Slither, and a lot of other movies I like, and this is the start of a new series of films from DC Studios. Here, Superman must reconcile his alien Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing as reporter Clark Kent. As the embodiment of truth, justice, and the human way, he soon finds himself in a world that views these as old-fashioned. Superman has always meant a lot to me. As a kid, I remember going to the Akron Library and renting the old Fleischer cartoons, which look incredible, by the way. If you look at these as animations that were produced in the 1940s and keep that in mind, that we are approaching a near 100-year benchmark for the creation of those, that animation is top tier. Eventually, of course, seeing the Christopher Reeve films, the original Donner film, the second film, which was directed mostly by him, but also by Richard Lester, and of course 3 and 4. And I watched Dean Cain's and Terry Hatcher's Lois and Clark show as a kid. But my favorite Superman property of all time for my entire life has always been the animated series. With that great Shirley Walker score and that awesome crossover movie, World's Finest, that has always been my number one favorite Superman anything, which I think is why I enjoyed this movie as much as I did, because James Gunn's approach to Superman feels the most like that animated series that I've ever seen in live action form. Except Lex Luthor is not like a bodybuilder in this movie like he was in that show. That's always been my favorite Lex Luthor. And as much as I like the legendary Gene Hackman in Richard Donner's original film, rest in peace, by the way, what a loss, Nicholas Hoult's portrayal of Lex Luthor is my favorite live action Lex Luthor I think we've ever gotten. He actually feels like a bad person. He doesn't feel like a villain that this movie has conjured to be an evil threat to our hero. He actually feels like someone who would destroy our planet if it means serving his own vanity or finding a way to make Superman look bad. I loved him in the movie, and I thought he was really, really terrific. Let's talk a little bit about David Corenswet as Superman and Clark Kent. This feels very much like Superman to me, and I liked Henry Cavill. I liked Christopher Reeve as a kid. I enjoyed Dean Cain's portrayal even. I've always been someone who looks for the good in performers who are trying their best to bring something to a role. Henry Cavill did really good, I think, as Superman. And Corenswet fills those boots excellently. He's funny in the movie, he's likable, he's great in the action scenes, the flying sequences look very good, and he feels like someone who actually was raised by 2 kindly farmers in the middle of nowhere. That's my favorite thing about his portrayal and the way Gunn wrote him here. He feels 100% like a small-town guy who just so happens to have those powers, and that's what I love about Superman. It's not just about his heritage and about how he was meant to protect and all of these types of things that we're so used to hearing in a Superman film or in a comic. It's really the focus on Pa and Ma Kent doing a good job as parents. That's something about the movie that really touched me and that actually snuck up on me emotionally in this movie. That there are some moments that focus on the fact that Superman is Superman because of the way he was raised, not just because of some blind faith ideology and what he's supposed to do for our planet and for our people. He's the way he is because he had good parents who cared about him. Rachel Brosnahan is excellent as Lois Lane. She feels like that hard-edged reporter who's going to find the truth no matter what, and she doesn't care about all of the noise. There's this sequence where Metropolis is literally being destroyed and everyone's just running around Daily Planet, and she's there with her papers trying to make sure she gets this article right. And I thought that was the heart and soul of the character. There's also the Justice Gang in the film. Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, Isabela Merced as Hawkgirl, and Eddie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific. A character I know nothing about, but I thought he was really, really good in the film. I thought he was so likable. He had a lot of the best laughs in the movie. I saw it with a packed audience tonight. He, by far, got all of the biggest laughs. Let's talk about the first 30 minutes of the movie, because I'll admit, it took me a while to warm up to it. And upon reflection, I think it's because this film ditches the origin story smartly. We don't need to see Superman getting packed up as a baby in his little spiky icicle ship and then crashing in Kansas, and we don't need it. We get it. This movie begins with the action already happening, and because of that, it can feel a little bit like you are jumping onto a speeding train that doesn't stop at the station. You just kind of leap onto it, and you're like, whoa, and there's no brakes, and you're just moving. It's not that I never caught up, because eventually the film does get into a really good groove, and I felt that I was enjoying the movie and getting it and grasping it. You're in a world where Superman is established, Clark Kent is established, there's a relationship in the movie that's already been established, and you're just off and running. And I think that is the best choice. But as a first-time viewer, it can feel a little bit, like I just said, you're getting smacked in the face and you are just full speed ahead, which I think is the right choice, because if they had done the origin all over again, I think everybody would be like, really? We know it, we've seen it, it's done, it's enough. And I'm going to say something strange here, but the honest truth is, when I see movies like this that are going to be parts of giant franchises, it's going to make a lot of money, the early reviews are really good, there's probably going to be more. When I see franchise films like this that are beginning and starting, I tend to think about legacy. And I know that's counterintuitive to doing a movie review, because the point of doing a movie review is saying, hey, you should maybe spend your money and go see this right now, today. But I do tend to think about how a film will fit into something later. 3 or 4 Superman movies from now, I like the idea that I can go back and not have to sit through an origin and just have it already be happening. And it'll feel very episodic and adventurous from the beginning, even though it was a little bit of a tough sell for me for those first 30 minutes. And I think it is because we've had many different incarnations of this character before, not just in movies and television, but in comics, of course. And this is a new one that is a slightly lighter tone, filled with more hope. People forget that the Donner film was very, very funny and had a lot of comic relief. There's an entire scene where Superman uses his X-ray vision to tell Lois what color underwear she's wearing. And of course, Otis, played by Ned Beatty, there's a lot of humor in that movie that people tend to forget about. It was matched very well with the tone of the movie and was also very serious as well. I think that obviously James Gunn's film is filled with considerably more humor than any Superman film that has ever been made before. Do I think that's a bad thing? I think that your mileage will vary on that. Whether or not you are in the mood to see a more hopeful, vibrant, buoyant Superman film, more akin to Raimi's original Spider-Man trilogy that was able to have fun with itself, not always take itself so seriously, then you're going to enjoy that. If you want a more dark and brooding film, films like perhaps We Have Already Gotten, then that's going to disappoint you. Let's talk about Krypto. Yep, I mean, Gunn really got the dog right. I have a huge dog right now. I have an English cream golden retriever. He's gigantic. He's a huge, huge dog, and he knocks me down all the time, and I'm 6'4". This is a very accurate portrayal of a dog that doesn't really care that much about what he interacts with, and perhaps doesn't realize that he has superpowers. All in all, I think this is a really good Superman movie. It's not my favorite one. I think Donner's original is still the best because he somehow pulled it off in the 1970s and they just made a miracle with that movie. But this is a very good Superman movie. And if, like me, you are a massive fan of the Superman animated series in particular, I think this film is really going to work for you. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. Look forward to more videos very soon. And if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.